Hi everyone and welcome to Facebook Live. It seems a bit weird doing one on a Friday night, but I've got some extra cards and things that I actually want to share with you, and also share with you before celebration finishes at the end of the month, because some of these bundles and suites that I'm showing you, if you love the suite or the bundle, you can then qualify for one of your free celebration items. So tonight I want to share with you one of the new suites from the mini catalogue, which is called the Ready to Ride suite. So this is a really, really good one for the blokes in your life. Okay, there is a little bit of versatility with this stamp set because there are some floral designs in the paper. So I'll show you those in a little bit more detail, but they've got some really, really great samples. And in the packet of the designer series paper, which is a specialty paper, there are some images that you can actually just cut out and use on your projects. Hi Rails, thank you for joining me. So with this suite, you get the stamp set, you get the dies, an embossing folder. There's also some embellishments there, which are just they're just called adhesive backed studs, and also the specialty designer series paper. Now, if you want the bundle, which is the stamp set and the dies, that comes in $107. So instantly, if you get that, you've qualified for one of the celebration items. So it's always really nice to get a few added extras for free this time of year. So let me share with you in a little bit more detail the products in that bundle. Hi Barb, thank you for joining me. So first up, we've got the Legendary Ride stamp set. So there's a couple of motorbikes in there and a few sentiments. So it's a good one, of course, leading into Father's Day, if you have need for Father's Day cards, of course. And Dad, You're the Coolest can probably be used for any time of the year. So it's got some great options there. The stamp set, the die set is this one here. So as you can see, there's lots of little pieces, and this is so that you can create a motorbike just using the dies. And I do have a sample. I'm not going to be making this card tonight because there's lots of little fiddly bits, but I do have a sample of how that looks. So with this motorbike, I've cut out multiple dies. So we've got the base. There's also all of these added pieces that you add into it as well, which gives you all those multi-layers. So with this one, I've used black and I've also used smoky slate cardstock. The orange is pumpkin pie, and I've also used some of the silver foil paper as well. So there's lots of little pieces there. And I do recommend, if you're using these dies, to actually use the adhesive sheets that we have in the catalogue, just to make it a bit easier. Hi Pam, thank you for joining me. So you also have the motorbike actually coordinates with one of the stamps as well. So the small motorbike die coordinates with the stamp set. You've also got the tool here, I guess, I don't know what that is. A spanner maybe, I'm not sure. But you also have the die for that, along with you get the die that coordinates with the flame. So they always do very well with their product coordination. So that is the dies. They have also in the suite the adhesive back studs. So you have your black and silver. As you can see, I've actually used quite a few of the black ones already, but there's lots of silver ones there still to use. And they are just a very simple peel up off the backing sheet and use on your projects. Hi Jenny, thank you for joining us. Let me just pop these away so I don't lose them. And finally, I want to share with you we've got the embossing folder, which is just called Metal Plate. This is one of the 3D ones, so it is one of the thicker embossing folders, but it's a slightly different sandwich on the Stampin' Cup machine. And of course, you can colour the inside and add some ink and things like that to add a little bit of detail. I have used this embossing folder on this card here, so there it is in the background, and also the card I'm making tonight, I'm going to be using that too. So that's the embossing folder. And finally, the designer series paper. This comes in 12 by 12. Hi, Corrine. Thank you for joining us. I have got smaller cuts. I'll show you those in a moment. They're just a card front size, but this is the piece that I really want to show you. On this piece, you can actually make or use all of these images here on a card. So if you're wondering where I got the image of the old garage for this card here, it came straight from the paper. So just with the paper alone and even the die set, you can create some really, really beautiful cards. And then of course on the flip side, we've got the nuts there. Let me show you the other ones. Oh, you've probably noticed it's got that shimmer to it. This has got like it's not quite embossed. I think it's sort of a UV finish on it, which just gives it all of that shimmer and shine, which is why it's classed as a specialty paper. And the other pieces that we have the flowers, the floral design. Again, it has that shiny finish. Another piece here, so you can go to work and get colouring and use those for your cards as well. Again, some of these patterns just have that shimmer and shine, and these are just the metal plate pattern on those two, and one that looks like a checkered flag. So let me just flip them over and show you the reverse side. So the reverse side, as always, still very usable. I've got some spanners there. Again, it does have that shimmer. Again, motorbikes, you could actually cut those out. Not sure, I'd have to test the die on that to see whether that would fit. Let me see. It might. No, not quite. They're a bit too small. It's always worth a try though, because sometimes we do get the images in the designer series paper that work with the dies. And again, just some finishing off. We have that nice shimmer to it. All right, so let me move this stuff aside so I can show you what we're going to be making. Okay, so this designer series paper is called the Ready to Ride Designer Series paper. It is one of the specialty papers found on page 69 of the mini catalogue. Cost is $27 for the whole packet. Okay, I'll pop this one aside as well. So the card that I'm going to be sharing with you is this one. So anyone who came to one of my launch events, this would look familiar. It is a leftover kit, but it's a really good card to make. It's quite easy, and it's just using some of these new products. And I've just finished the inside as well. For mine, I've used vanilla. I think in the actual paper it is white, but depending on what you're using from the designer series paper, you could use vanilla, which just works quite nicely for the more masculine cards. Now, the only thing I did ahead of time was use the embossing folder. Because it's a standard size embossing folder, it doesn't fit through the mini machine. So rather than walking away, I thought I would do that earlier. But I think everyone has seen me use the embossing folders before. So I've got all of my other little pieces. I'm just going to move some of these just off to one side. So as in stamping, there's not a lot in this card. So I've got to stamp my motorbike and also the sentiment on the inside as well. So let me grab some blocks for these. And it is quite a sizable stamp. This is the biggest one in the set, and I have just put that onto a block E. So you do need a slightly bigger block for this particular stamp set. And also got the sentiment for the inside as well. I'm only using one ink for this card, which is the basic grey. So it is one of our darker colours. And I'm also going to grab as well my stamping pad just to put underneath. Okay, so as always, this is stamping wise, it's very simple. I'm just going to give that a test there is nothing here that stamping that you haven't done before. And I'm going to be hopefully stamping it straight. And one good thing, I actually feel a bit more confident tonight that I've got everything I need for tonight's Facebook Live within easy reach. Yeah, I didn't quite achieve that on Tuesday night. It was that one was a little bit challenging to get through, but we got there in the end. Okay, yeah, basic white and black would also look really good. I think with the black, it's just a little bit more stark and darker with the colour. Okay, so it's going to work exactly the same. There we go. So that is the only stamping that we need to do on this card. So I can get rid of my ink pad and I can get rid of a couple of these other things that we're done with. My card base is basic grey. Again, it's just that usual half sheet of A4, and of course you can cut it either long ways or the width. Either way is going to work. So I'm going to finish the inside first just by sticking in my vanilla insert, and I'm just going to be using, as I usually do, Stampin' Seal. And Tombow works, whatever you would normally use. I've got a smudge on there, that'll be all right. I'll put a stamp on it to cover it. Okay, so now we need to do a little bit more on the front. So I have my piece of the Designer Series paper, which is going to line up flush with the bottom. And of course, if you don't want to have the orange facing up, you can do that as well. So it's just lining up the corner and the edges. And some days, no matter how hard I try to line up corners and edges, it still ends up being a little bit crooked. But that's okay. We can live with that. And I've just got a small amount just to trim off to make that all nice and neat. Okay, I have got some of from the Essentials or the Baker's Twine Essentials pack. We have the plain black Baker's Twine. There's also a grey and a vanilla in there, so along with the white. So there are a few options that you can go with for the colour, and it is nice to have that option of vanilla. So with that, I've just tied a reef knot, and I'm going to put my knot just slightly off to the side, hold that in place, draw out the string of the Baker's Twine, and then snip. And that is going to go on around about there. And I'm going to stick that in place at the back with a little bit of sticky tape. And of course, you could use double-sided tape to do this part if you wanted to. I tend to use sticky tape only because it's a little bit quicker. I just have that little bit of excess there that I'm going to trim off. Okay, so there you have your bit of Baker's Twine. And I'm just going to trim those little tails up just a little bit. Okay. Next, I'm going to be putting this onto the card front. I'm going to be using dimensionals. The reason I'm using dimensionals, and you've probably noticed that when I have ribbon or Baker's Twine or the different threads, I find that when you stick them flat down, they're kind of a little bit lumpy and bumpy. So I have found that using a layer of the dimensionals for that, it just sits a little bit better. And I also like lots of layers with a whole lot of dimension as well. Okay, so just get rid of the backs off these, which only just takes a moment. So, question for everyone, how's your week been? Because it's only last Tuesday that I was here. So how's everyone been this week? Okay, so my card. And again, line that up. And it's actually relatively straight, so that's always a bonus. And then I'm going to be using a layer of real red, and you could use orange, you could use green, you could use whatever color you like, because when you look at the colors in here with the black, gray and the vanilla, it's really versatile. Sharon's been flat out working. Yeah, I've worked pretty much every day this week as well, Sharon, and just squeezing craft time in between everything else. Okay, and then that goes on there. Very good. So I'm glad that you're getting your prep done for your class rails. That's really good to hear. Takes a little bit of time, doesn't it? It's one of the things I've been working on for classes. I have a card buffet again next week, so there's 8 cards in that one, and that card buffet is next Friday night. So I've actually got 2 card buffets in 2 weeks. I've got a card buffet as well for the craft days weekend, which will have completely different projects. So I'm thinking just quietly I might be a bit nuts at the moment. It's been fun bringing the projects together. Oh, happy anniversary, Jenny. That's it's always so, they're lovely things, lovely milestones to celebrate anniversaries. Okay, so this will then go onto the card front, and I might not have quite lined up my thread, not quite over far enough, but that will still work. So dimensional with that element onto the front, and then the finishing off is just putting some of these adhesive backed studs onto the front. Now I have found with these little diamond shaped ones, they're a little bit tricky to line up, but I'm working on the theory that if they're on there kind of sort of straight, I'm going to live with that. And I like things to be fairly precise, but I've kind of given up with this particular shape because it is just a little bit tricky to get them on straight, particularly when you're also putting them over an embossed piece of cardstock. Oops, that one. Try again with that one. It flipped over. That's better. That's not too bad. I can live with that. Yeah, they're just a little bit tricky just to line up. I think because I've got the straight edges, whereas we're always using, or generally what I use is more of the embellishments that are a little bit round. That's not too bad though. That one's a little bit high, but I think I'll just live with that. So there is a really easy card to do for men. Okay, so, and then of course, you've just got your legendary on the inside. And of course, you could stamp a happy birthday or a thank you. You could make that into any card you like, which is really, really quite a nice option that we have with everything, is that you can mix and match our stamp sets to create a card that you need for that occasion. So that is the card that I've got to share with you tonight. As I mentioned, that is the built motorbike with all of the little cutouts. I think what I might do, because it does take a little bit of time, I might do just a process video on how to create this with the dies. So I'll aim to do that in the next few days, and I'll post it either to YouTube, and I'll share the link, or I'll post it directly here on my Facebook page. I will try as I mentioned, very hard to get that done. It's not terribly difficult, it's just a little bit fiddly, and I do recommend that you use tweezers and the adhesive sheets with it. This one I put together with a bit of Tombow, and I kind of got the odd smear here and there. And the problem with the smearing Tombow on the foil paper, if you're using that, is it leaves it looking a bit dull. So thank you, Janine. Thank you, Rails. So a couple of reminders I have got happening at the moment. So I've got the giveaway for the Beautifully Happy stamp set, which is a level 2 celebration stamp set. So this one you earn with a $180 purchase. For you to get an entry into the draw, for every $90 purchase, you'll get one entry. Okay, so that is between now and the end of February when celebration finishes, and I'll be drawing the winner on the 1st of March. So that is the first one, which is the Beautifully Happy stamp set giveaway. The other thing too, this one is very, very time sensitive, is the February Card Club. Registration for this card club does close today. So for $30, you will receive $20 worth of product. You'll receive kits to make 4 cards. You'll get the written tutorial, and with this one actually comes a YouTube video as well. So I'll give you the link for that YouTube video to show you how to put together one of the cards. It's a fancy fold card. So you'll get the Rain or Shine Designer Series paper, which is from the mini catalogue. Let me just quickly find that and show you that one quickly. It's on page 51, which is really, really super cute paper, which are those ones just there. So you get one sheet of each of those. So it's half a packet, and there's 3 or 4 sheets alone in this packet that you can cut up the images and use on your cards. And you'll also get a bunch of those little flower embellishments, which are just called loose daisy embellishments, which are really cute. And you just stick those on with a little bit of Tombow. And you'll also get some of the white crinkle seam binding ribbon, which is a ribbon that I use a fair bit, or it's the main white one that I use, and it's really versatile. So that is for this month. Registration closes. I'm probably going to be placing the order in the next hour or so. So if you do want to be a part of this month's card club, please let me know by about 9 o'clock, just so I can finalize my order and get that in. So I'm not going to be back next Tuesday. I do have the free card class, which is a 2-card class. It's happening on Thursday. I've decided to take a break on Tuesday because otherwise every night next week I'll be doing a class of some sort or a Facebook Live. So there will just be one Facebook Live, which will be next Thursday, but I will send the reminders out for that. So the people who place an order in January of $50 or more will have already received their kits for the class next week. And I'll just post a few days ahead of time just the extra products that you need to complete those projects while I'm making them. So thank you so much everyone for watching tonight. I hope you'll have a really fabulous weekend. Stay cool tomorrow. I think it's going to be a little bit warm, but then a bit nicer on Sunday weather-wise. I think it's going to turn a little bit cool. So thank you again everyone for watching February Card Club Need to Know Today. And of course there is that giveaway as well with a $90 purchase that you get your entries for. Take care everyone, and I will see you next week. Thanks so much. Bye.